John Collins straightened his blue uniform as he walked down the long hallway of the Galactic Council building. The lights from 100 different stars shone through the crystal ceiling above. After 20 years as Earth's ambassador, he knew this might be his last walk to the Great Chamber. "Are you sure about this, sir?" asked Susan, his young assistant. Her eyes showed worry. "I've never been more sure of anything," John said. He carried a simple black folder. Inside was a single paper with Earth's final decision. The council chamber was huge. 200 alien species had seats in the giant circle. Some looked almost human. Others were very different. Some made of crystal, others of gas held in special suits, and some that looked like giant insects. The head of the council, a tall blue alien named Xerix, nodded as John and Susan took their seats. Earth had been part of this council for 200 years. At first, aliens had welcomed humans. They thought humans were interesting and different. But as humans grew stronger and made new technologies faster than anyone expected, many council members became afraid. "The council will now hear from the Varaxian delegation," Xerix announced. A group of tall, thin aliens with gray skin stood up. Their leader, Ambassador Krell, looked at the humans with cold eyes. "For too long we have watched the humans expand. Too quickly," Krell said in a loud voice. "They build ships faster than any rules allow. They change their own bodies with machines. They create thinking computers that could threaten us all. Today we ask the council to put new limits on humans." Krell showed pictures of new human colonies and ships. "They must be stopped before they grow too powerful. We propose cutting their space travel rights by half. All human technology must be checked by council scientists before use, and humans must stop building more colonies." John listened quietly. This was exactly what he had expected. The older species had always been afraid of change. They had been in space for thousands of years, but they moved slowly. Humans solved problems in new ways the aliens did not understand. As Krell finished, many council members clapped their hands, tentacles, or other limbs to show they agreed. "Does Earth wish to respond?" Xerix asked, looking at John. "We do," John said. He stood up and walked to the center of the room. He did not bring any pictures or charts. He just stood there, looking at all the different aliens who had judged his people for so long. "For 200 years we have tried to be good members of this group," John began. "We have followed your rules. We have shared our ideas. We have fought in your wars and healed your sick. But you have never trusted us." The room was very quiet now. "Whenever we solve a problem in a new way, you make a new rule against it. When we find faster ways to travel, you slow us down. When we create new medicines, you say they are too dangerous." John looked at each section of the room before continuing. "We came here as equals, but you treat us like children. We offer new ideas, but you want everything to stay the same. You are afraid of change. But change is what humans are good at." Susan watched nervously as some council members began to whisper to each other. "Today, I am not here to argue against these new limits," John said. This made everyone stop and listen carefully. "I am here to tell you that Earth and all human colonies are leaving the Galactic Council starting today." The room exploded with noise. Some aliens jumped up, shouting. Others sat in shock. "You cannot leave," shouted a round alien with 7 eyes. "No one has ever left the council." "That is exactly the problem," John replied calmly. "You think your old ways are the only ways. We disagree." Xerix hit his soundstone to make everyone quiet. "Ambassador Collins, please think carefully. Without council protection, you will be alone. There are dangers in space you cannot face by yourselves." John smiled a little. "We faced dangers before we met any of you. We will face them again. Humanity does not need a parent. We need allies who respect us." He placed his paper on the center table. "This document ends Earth's membership. All human ships will leave council space within 30 days. We will set up our own borders." A small green alien with big eyes spoke up. "But the trade routes, the defense agreements, this will cause chaos." "Perhaps," John said. "Or perhaps it will help the council remember why it was created, to bring Different people together as equals. When you are ready to treat us as equals, we will be ready to talk again." John nodded to Susan. They turned and walked toward the exit as the noise grew louder behind them. Just before leaving, John looked back one last time at the council he had known for so long. "Good luck to you all," he said. "Humanity will find its own path among the stars." As John and Susan walked back through the crystal hallway, Susan finally spoke. "What happens now, sir?" "Now we go home and build something better," John said. "The council has existed for 10,000 years. They've forgotten how to change and grow, but that's what we do best." What John didn't know was that at that exact moment, far away at the human colony in the Proxima Centauri system, scientists were detecting something strange. Something was coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy, something moving with purpose, heading toward populated worlds. The timing of humanity's departure from the council could not have been worse, or perhaps, as future events would show, it could not have been better. As the human ships left the council station and prepared to jump to faster than light speed, John looked out at the stars. He felt both worry and hope. For 2 centuries, humans had tried to fit into the galaxy as others wanted them to be. Now they would show the galaxy who they really were. The human ships disappeared in flashes of blue light, heading home to prepare for whatever would come next. The day humans departed the Galactic Council was indeed the day the universe began to change. 3 years had passed since Earth left the Galactic Council. Captain Lisa Harrington stood on the bridge of her ship, the Northern Star. It was a trading vessel, moving goods between human colonies. Lisa had dark hair pulled back in a simple style and eyes that missed very little. "Captain, we're picking up a distress call," said Rick, her communications officer. His fingers moved quickly over the glowing controls. "What kind of ship?" Lisa asked. It's a Talari diplomatic vessel. They say they're under attack by Murian ships." Lisa frowned. The Talari and Murians were both council races. They had argued over trade routes for years, but the council had always kept them from fighting. Something had changed. "How far?" she asked. "About 10 minutes at full speed," Rick said. Lisa thought for a moment. Helping aliens might cause trouble. Since leaving the council, humans tried to avoid alien problems, but she couldn't ignore a call for help. "Set course to help them," she ordered. "Tell everyone to prepare for possible combat." The Northern Star changed direction, its engines glowing brighter. Soon they could see the fight. 3 Murian warships were attacking a smaller Talari ship. The Talari vessel was damaged, leaking air into space. "Get between them," Lisa ordered. Her ship moved into position. "Open communication channels." The face of a Murian captain appeared on the screen. He had gray skin and 4 eyes that blinked in surprise. "Human vessel, this is not your concern." "Leave now," he said. "You're attacking a diplomatic ship in open space," Lisa replied calmly. "That makes it everyone's concern." "Humans have no authority here since you left the council," the Murian said. Lisa smiled. "We don't need council authority to stop bullies. Leave now, or see what a human ship can really do." The Murian looked uncertain. Human weapons were known to be effective. After a moment, he gave an order to his crew. The 3 warships turned and moved away. "Thank you, Captain," said the Talari diplomat when Lisa called their ship. The Talari had smooth blue skin and large eyes. "The council told us they would send protection, but no one came." "The council makes a lot of promises," Lisa said. "Can your ship make it to your destination?" "With some repairs, yes," the Talari said. "May we ask why you helped us?" "Your people left the council." "We left the council, not our principles," Lisa answered. "Safe travels." As the Northern Star continued its journey, Lisa didn't know that her actions would soon be discussed throughout council space. Some would praise humans for helping. Others would complain about human interference. Far away on Earth, in a building overlooking the Pacific Ocean, Alan Wright was having a difficult day. As Director of Defense, he was responsible for protecting all human worlds. The reports on his desk were troubling. "Show me the readings again," he told the scientist sitting across from him. Dr. Paul Kelly was the head of Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Program. "This is what our stations at Proxima Centauri detected 3 years ago," Paul said, showing a chart with strange energy patterns. "And these are the new readings from 6 other colonies. Whatever it is, it's not just one thing. It's many things moving together." Alan studied the images. Something was coming from beyond the galaxy's edge. Something big. "How long until they reach populated systems?" he asked. "At their current speed, 8 months to the first council worlds, maybe a year before they reach human space." Alan stood up and walked to the window. "Have you shared this with the council?" Paul nodded. "We sent the data through unofficial channels. They said they would evaluate the information." "Which means they'll do nothing until it's too late," Alan said. "Have you shown this to the president?" "Yes. She authorized me to tell you that Protocol Watchman is approved." Alan's eyes widened. Protocol Watchman was a defense plan the council had rejected years ago. It involved building advanced weapon platforms near all major colonies. The council had called it unnecessarily aggressive. "Start production immediately," Alan said, "and double the patrols on our borders. Whatever's coming, we need to be ready." Across human space, change was happening. Without council restrictions, human technology was advancing quickly. New ships, new weapons, new ways of communicating across vast distances. Humans were doing what they had always done best, adapting and growing, but they weren't the only ones changing. The council was struggling. For 200 years, humans had helped solve problems between species. Humans had strange ways of thinking that often found unexpected solutions. Without them, old conflicts were growing worse. In the council chamber, Xerix listened as 2 species argued loudly about mining rights. The meeting had gone on for hours with no progress. "If only the humans were still here," whispered his assistant. "They could have found a compromise." Xerix nodded sadly. "We did not value what they brought to us until it was gone." A council member rushed into the chamber, interrupting the debate. "Urgent news. A Talari diplomatic ship was attacked by Murians in the outer sectors." The room filled with angry voices. The Talari ambassador demanded action against the Murians. "Was anyone hurt?" Xerix asked. "No." A human trade ship intervened and drove off the attackers. The room went quiet. Then everyone started talking at once. "Humans have no right to interfere. Thank the stars they were there. This proves they're dangerous. This proves we need them." Xerix called for order. As the noise died down, he noticed a message on his private screen. It was from Earth's monitoring stations, showing strange readings from beyond the galaxy. Some kind of vessels were approaching. He closed the message. The council had experts who would study this. If there was really danger, they would have time to prepare. The council had existed for 10,000 years. It had faced threats before. Meanwhile, on a human colony called New Hope, children looked up at the night sky. Their teacher pointed to the stars. "Out there are thousands of worlds and different kinds of people," she said. "For a long time we tried to be part of their council. Now we're finding our own way." "Are the aliens our enemies?" a small boy asked. The teacher shook her head. "No. Just because we left their council doesn't mean we're enemies. We just have different ideas about how things should work." "Will we ever join them again?" asked a girl with bright eyes. "Maybe someday," the teacher said. "But first, they need to learn that different doesn't mean wrong, and we need to build something better to show them." As night fell across human worlds, no one knew that the coming months would test humanity like never before. The mysterious vessels approaching from beyond the galaxy would soon reveal themselves. And when they did, both humans and the council would face a threat unlike any they had seen before. The ripples of humanity's independence were spreading across the stars. But a much bigger wave was coming. 6 years after humanity left the council, the mysterious vessels finally arrived. They came to a small council world first. The planet was called Vesh, home to farmers who grew special plants used in medicines across the galaxy. The people of Vesh saw 7 huge ships appear in their sky one morning. Each ship was black and shaped like a curved claw. They sent messages asking who the visitors were. The reply came in all languages at once. "We are the Harbinger fleet. Your resources are now ours. Resistance is unwise. The council ships guarding." Vesh tried to fight. They were destroyed in minutes. The Harbinger ships landed and strange beings came out. They looked partly like machines and partly like insects. They began taking everything: plants, animals, water, and minerals. They took people too. Within 3 days, Vesh was empty of all useful things. As the Harbinger fleet moved to the next world, news of the attack spread across Council space. Fear grew as more planets fell. The Council's defense ships fought bravely, but could not stop the invaders. The Harbinger's technology was too advanced. Their ships could heal themselves. Their weapons cut through the strongest shields. Word reached human space when a damaged alien ship escaped to a human border station. Its captain, barely alive, shared recordings of the attacks before he died. On the human colony world of New Montana, Commander Ben Martinez watched these recordings with growing concern. He was in charge of Earth's new deep space fleet. His ships were the most advanced humans had ever built, created without Council restrictions. "They attack in the same pattern every time," Ben said to his officers as they studied the videos. "They disable communications first, then target the largest ships. They're efficient," said his second-in-command Laura. "Like a well-trained army?" "Or like insects," Ben said. "Look how they move together. Almost like they share one mind." The human leaders had a difficult choice. Should they help the Council worlds, or focus only on protecting human space? Many humans still felt bitter about how the Council had treated them, but others said that allowing the Harbingers to take more worlds would only make them stronger. While the leaders debated, Ben received new orders: protect New Montana at all costs. Intelligence suggested the Harbingers would attack there next. "They've probably detected our special resource mining operation," Laura said. The planet was rich in rare elements used in advanced human technology. Ben's fleet prepared for battle. They had 20 ships, new designs that the Council had never seen. But even these might not be enough against the Harbingers. 3 days later, the warning came. Unknown vessels approaching, Harbinger signatures confirmed. Ben's voice was calm as he gave orders. "All ships, take formation Delta. Remember the plan. Don't attack until I give the word." The human fleet did something strange. Instead of forming a defensive line, they scattered. Some hid behind moons. Others waited in the shadow of the planet. Some seemed to shut down completely. When the 7 Harbinger ships arrived, they saw only 3 human vessels apparently guarding the planet. "Attention, Harbinger fleet," Ben broadcast. "This world is under human protection. Leave now." The Harbingers responded as expected. "Your resources are now ours. Resistance is unwise." The battle began. The 3 visible human ships fought well but began to lose just as Ben had planned. The Harbingers moved closer to the planet, thinking victory was near. That's when Ben sprung his trap. "All ships, attack pattern Omega, target their communication." Arrays! Human ships appeared from all directions. They fired strange weapons the Harbingers had never seen. The weapons didn't try to destroy the Harbinger ships. They targeted specific parts of each ship. Ben had guessed right. The Harbingers were like insects with a hive mind. They shared one consciousness across all ships. By targeting their communication systems, the humans broke the connection. Without their shared mind, the Harbinger ships became confused. Some tried to retreat. Others kept fighting, but with less skill. For the first time, the invaders began to lose. 3 Harbinger ships were destroyed. The others managed to escape, jumping away into deep space. The human fleet had won, but at a cost. 5 human ships were destroyed, and others damaged. As repair crews worked, Ben received a strange message. Council representatives wanted to meet secretly. They needed help. The meeting happened on a small moon. 3 council members, 1 Talari, 1 Murian, and 1 from a species called the Veloth, met with Ben. "Your ships defeated them," said the Talari with amazement. "Our best fleets couldn't even slow them down." "We found their weakness," Ben explained. They share one mind, break their connection, and they get confused. Will you help us? Asked the Murian. They've taken 12 council worlds already. Ben frowned. The council rejected us. Why should we help now? Because if they take all council worlds, they'll be stronger when they come for you next, said the Voloth. Ben knew they were right, but he also had his orders. I need to discuss this with Earth leadership. I can't promise anything. Back on Earth, the debate grew heated. Scientist Kate Donahue led those who wanted to help the council. This isn't about old grudges, she argued. This is about survival. If the Harbingers consume enough worlds, no one will be able to stop them. Others disagreed. The council never helped us, said General Scott Peters. They held us back for 200 years. Let them solve their own problems. Kate's research team had been studying the Harbinger technology. They're not just taking resources, she explained. They're learning from each world they take. Their ships show signs of adapting, getting stronger with each victory. President Maria Rodriguez made the final decision. We will defend human space fully, but we will also offer limited help to council worlds that ask for it. We need to show that humanity stands for something greater than old conflicts. The next months were difficult. The Harbingers attacked more worlds. Sometimes human ships arrived in time to help. Often they did not. Each battle taught both sides more about the other. Kate's team made an important discovery by studying pieces of destroyed Harbinger ships. They're not just one mind, she told Ben during a video call. They have a central consciousness somewhere, probably in a ship we haven't seen yet. If we could find it and disrupt it, we might be able to stop them all at once. The hunt for this central mind became the new focus. Human scout ships risked dangerous missions into Harbinger-controlled space, looking for clues. Meanwhile, attitudes were changing. Council species that had once feared humans now asked for their protection. Human technology, developed freely after leaving the Council, was proving more effective against the Harbingers than anything the Council had. An elder from a species called the G-Car visited Earth. The G-Car were one of the oldest Council races made of living crystal. They had always been most opposed to human ways. We were wrong about your people, the elder told President Rodriguez. We feared your quick change and new ideas. Now we see that as exactly what is needed against this enemy. Will the Council admit that? Maria asked. The G-Car's crystal form glowed softly. The Council changes very slowly. But my people are ready to stand with humans now, whatever the Council decides. It was the beginning of a new alliance. As more Council worlds fell to the Harbingers, more species looked to humanity for leadership and protection. The Harbingers noticed this shift. Their next target was chosen carefully, the human colony of New Montana, site of their first defeat. This time they would come with more ships and new weapons. Ben Martinez prepared his fleet once again. But this time, he would not fight alone. Ships from the G-Car and 3 other former Council races joined his fleet. It was the first true test of cooperation between humans and aliens as equals, rather than under Council rules. The coming battle would decide much more than the fate of one planet. It would show whether humans and aliens could build something new together from the ruins of the old Council system. 10 years after leaving the Council, humanity revealed its greatest creation yet. They called it the Phoenix Protocol. It was not just one weapon or ship, but a whole new way of fighting. It combined smart computers that could predict enemy moves, special weapons that worked on the smallest parts of matter, and a new way of giving orders that didn't depend on one leader. Kate Donahue stood proudly as she showed the plans to leaders from Earth and friendly alien worlds. The room was filled with holographic images showing how the system worked. The Harbingers are strong because they think as one mind, Kate explained. But that's also their weakness. They can't understand choices that don't make sense to their one mind. The Phoenix Protocol was built on the idea of controlled chaos. Human ships would act in ways that seemed random but actually followed complex patterns. Each ship captain could make their own choices while still working toward the main goal. All these technologies were banned under Council rules. Kate said. They thought AI systems were too dangerous. They feared quantum weapons could damage space itself. They believed Central Command was the only safe way to control a fleet. And now? Asked the Zikar elder, his crystal body reflecting the light from the displays. Now we've proven those fears were wrong, Kate said. When used responsibly, these technologies might save us all. While human colonies stood strong against Harbinger attacks, Council space continued to fall. The Council's old ways of fighting, with strict rules and careful plans approved by many committees, could not adapt fast enough to the Harbinger threat. In his office on Earth, Alan Wright received reports of another Council world lost. As Defense Director, he had pushed the Phoenix Protocol forward against those who thought it too radical. How many does that make? He asked his assistant. 28 Council worlds taken, she replied, plus 11 independent worlds. Alan sighed. And how many human worlds? Still just the outer mining station at Ceres Alpha. All major colonies are safe. It was a painful success. Human worlds were holding, but the rest of the galaxy was suffering. Every world the Harbingers took made them stronger. They learned from each conquest, adding new technologies and resources to their fleet. The Council was finally starting to change. After thousands of years of doing things the same way, they began to copy human methods, but they were learning too slowly. Then came news that changed everything. The Harbingers had targeted Epsilon Indi, one of the most important Council hub worlds. Millions of people from dozens of species lived there. It was a center for trade, culture, and government. The Council sent their largest fleet to defend it. They asked for human help, but Earth ships were busy protecting human space and allied worlds. Only one small human battle group was close enough to help. It was led by Commander Olivia Pierce, a young officer with a reputation for bold thinking. Olivia had strict orders. Observe only. Do not engage unless human interests were directly threatened. Her 5 ships arrived at Epsilon Indi just as the battle began. From her command chair, Olivia watched as 30 Council ships faced 15 Harbinger vessels. The Council fleet was larger, but the Harbingers had brought their strongest ships. We should help them, said her second-in-command, Sam. Our orders are clear, Olivia replied, though her face showed she didn't like those orders. The battle went badly for the Council ships. They fought in the old way, with careful formations and by-the-book tactics. The Harbingers cut through their lines, destroying ship after ship. Olivia watched the Council Admiral try to adjust, but he was too slow. His ships couldn't change plans quickly enough. They're going to lose, Sam said quietly. Olivia made her decision. Prepare all ships for battle. We're joining in. But our orders, I'll answer for it later, Olivia said. We can't watch millions die when we might help. Her 5 ships moved into attack position. They were small compared to the Council battleships, but they were fast and had the latest human weapons. All ships Phoenix Pattern Delta, Olivia ordered. Target their communication arrays as primary objectives. The human ships darted into the battle like fish swimming between sharks. They seemed to move randomly, making them hard to hit. They fired precise shots at the Harbinger's key systems. The Council Admiral was shocked. What are those human ships doing? They'll be destroyed. But the human tactics worked. 3 Harbinger ships lost their connection to the hive mind and began to drift. The others turned to focus on the human threat, creating an opening for the Council ships. Admiral, Olivia called over the communication channel. Hit them now while they're confused. To his credit, the Council Admiral saw the opportunity. He ordered his remaining ships to attack. Together, the combined fleet drove back the Harbingers. For the first time in a major battle. When it was over, 2 of Olivia's 5 ships had been destroyed. But Epsilon Indi was saved, along with its millions of people. The Council ships had suffered heavy losses too, but they had won. The Council Admiral's face appeared on Olivia's screen. Commander Pierce, your actions today went against established protocol. His serious face then broke into a smile. And thank the stars for that. You saved this world when our ways failed. News of the victory spread quickly. Across council space, people began to speak openly about what many had already been thinking. Humanity's different approach was working. The old council ways were failing against this new enemy. Olivia expected to be punished for disobeying orders when she returned to Earth. Instead, she found herself in a meeting with President Rodriguez, Director Wright, and Ambassador Collins, who had come out of retirement. "Your actions at Epsilon Indy have changed many minds," the president told her. "The council has officially requested our help in protecting their core worlds. They're ready to accept our methods. After 10 years, they finally admit we were right," Alan Wright said with a hint of satisfaction. John Collins shook his head. "This isn't about who was right or wrong. It's about finding a better way forward together." The president nodded. "Exactly. Which is why we're sending you back to the council, John. Not to rejoin it, but to help shape whatever comes next." The old ambassador looked surprised. "Me? I thought my diplomatic days were over. You told them the truth when we left," Rodriguez said. "Now you can tell them the truth about how we move forward." In the days that followed, human fleets began working openly with council forces. Human officers taught alien crews the Phoenix Protocol tactics. Human engineers helped upgrade council ships with technologies that had once been forbidden. On New Montana, Ben Martinez watched alien ships land at the spaceport. They brought refugees from worlds that had fallen to the Harbingers. Human colonies opened their doors to those who had once rejected them. "Strange how things change," Laura said as they watched from a hill overlooking the port. Ben nodded. "The Harbingers thought they could consume the galaxy. Instead, they forced us to find common ground. But the war was far from over. Kate's research team was still hunting for the Harbinger's central consciousness. They believed if they could find and disable it, the entire Harbinger fleet might be stopped at once. Their breakthrough came from an unexpected source. The G-Car, with their crystalline bodies, could detect energy patterns humans couldn't. Working with human scientists, they discovered faint signals coming from the edge of the galaxy, from the same direction the Harbingers had first appeared. "There's something out there in the galactic halo," Kate told the combined human-alien, or council. "Something controlling all Harbinger ships. If we can reach it and disrupt its signals, we might end this war." But the galactic halo was incredibly far from populated space. No one had ever tried to reach it before. "We would need a special ship," said the G-Car scientist working with Kate. "Faster and more durable than anything built before." "Then, we'll build it," said Alan Wright. "Together." Work began immediately on a ship unlike any seen before. Human engineers worked alongside the best minds from a dozen alien species. They called the ship Hope's Arrow. It would carry a small elite crew on the most important mission in history. As the ship neared completion, John Collins addressed a historic gathering on Earth. Representatives from all human colonies stood alongside delegates from 40 council species. "When we left the council 10 years ago," John said, "many thought it was the end of cooperation between our peoples. Instead, it became a new beginning. Sometimes we must step away from what is comfortable to find what is right." He looked out at the mixed crowd. Humans and aliens stood side by side as equals, not as rulers and ruled. The day humans departed, the Galactic Council was indeed the day the universe began to change, John continued. But the change is not complete. Together we must decide what comes next. Not just how to defeat the Harbingers, but what kind of galaxy we want to build afterward. As he spoke, the Hope's Arrow prepared for its journey to the edge of the galaxy. The fate of all peoples would depend on its success. Human and alien crew members worked together, each bringing their own strengths to the mission. The final battle was about to begin. The ship named Hope's Arrow moved through space faster than any vessel before it. Its special engines, designed by both human and alien engineers, left a blue trail behind it. Inside, the crew prepared for their mission to save the galaxy. Captain Frank Harris stood on the bridge looking at the stars. He had been chosen to lead this important mission because of his experience fighting the Harbingers. With him were the best crew members from 6 different species. "How much longer to the target?" Frank asked. 3 days at current speed, answered Nix, the G-Car navigator. His crystal body glowed softly as he worked the controls. The ship was heading to the galactic halo, the thin cloud of stars and matter surrounding the main galaxy. Somewhere in that vast space was the central mind controlling all Harbinger ships. Any sign they know we're coming? Frank asked his sensor officer, a human named Grace. Nothing yet, she replied, but they must have some defenses out there. Frank nodded. The plan was dangerous. They would find the central control ship and use a special device created by Kate Donahue's team. It would send a signal that would confuse the Harbinger mind. If it worked, all Harbinger ships across the galaxy would lose their connection and become harmless. If it failed, Hope's Arrow would likely be destroyed, and the war would continue. Back in the main galaxy, the fighting grew worse. The Harbingers seemed to sense something was happening. They attacked more worlds with greater force than before. On Earth, President Rodriguez received updates from the front lines. The news was not good. "We've lost contact with the colony on Delta Prime," reported Alan Wright. "And 3 more Council worlds have fallen in the past week." "What about our main fleets?" the President asked. "They're holding the line but taking heavy losses. The Phoenix Protocol is still working, but the Harbingers are adapting to it." The President looked out the window at the clear blue sky. "Everything depends on the Hope's Arrow now. Have we heard anything from them?" "Not since they passed the outer marker," Alan said. "They're too far for regular messages now." "Then we wait," said the President, "and we fight to give them time." Across human and Council space, combined fleets battled the Harbingers. Ships using the Phoenix Protocol worked alongside traditional Council vessels. They won some battles and lost others, but most importantly, they slowed the enemy's advance. On the 3rd day of their journey, the Hope's Arrow reached the edge of the galactic halo. The sensors came alive with readings. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive structure ahead," Grace reported. It's huge, much bigger than any Harbinger ship we've seen before." On the main screen they saw it, a giant black shape floating in space. It looked like a massive brain with metal parts growing from it. Around it floated hundreds of smaller ships, all connected to the central structure by beams of energy. "That's it," Frank said quietly. "The Harbinger central mind." The alien crew members looked at the massive object with fear. Even the humans felt a chill. "How do we get close enough to use the device?" asked Ella, the ship's engineer. "There are too many Guardian ships." Frank studied the readings. "We need a distraction." He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to Fleet Command. We've found the target, but need a diversion." The message would take hours to reach the nearest fleet. In the meantime, the Hope's Arrow hid behind a small moon, watching the Harbinger brain. "What are those energy beams doing?" Frank asked. The science officer, an alien named Turek with 4 arms and blue skin, analyzed the readings. "They're sending and receiving information. Control signals going out to all Harbinger ships in the galaxy and data coming back from conquered worlds." "So that thing knows everything that every Harbinger ship sees and does?" Ella asked. "Yes," said Turek. "It's learning from every world they take." 2 days later, their sensors detected ships entering the area. But they weren't the human or Council ships they expected. They were Harbinger vessels, dozens of them, returning to the central brain. "They're pulling back their forces," Frankie realized. "They know something's wrong." "Captain," Grace called urgently, "I'm picking up energy surges from the brain. It's charging weapons." "They've detected us," Frank said. "We can't wait for help." He turned to his crew. "New plan. We go now. Full speed straight for the brain. Ella, prepare the device." "But the Guardian ships," Nix began. "Will catch us if we wait," Frank finished. "Our only chance is to surprise them." The Hope's Arrow powered up its engines. Frank looked at his mixed crew of humans and aliens. "Whatever happens, it's been an honor serving with all of you." The ship shot forward, heading straight for the massive brain. Almost immediately, the Guardian ships moved to intercept. "Evasive maneuvers," Frank ordered. "Remember your Phoenix Protocol training." The Hope's Arrow danced between enemy fire, moving in unpredictable patterns. But there were too many enemies. Hits rocked the ship, damaging systems. "Shields at 40%, reported the defense officer. "How close do we need to be to use the device?" Frank asked Ella. "At least within 10,000 kilometers of the brain," she answered. "We're currently at 50,000 and closing," Nick said. More hits shook the ship. A control panel exploded, injuring one crew member. "Shields at 15%, called the defense officer. Frank gripped his chair. "Keep going." Just when it seemed they would fail, new signals appeared on their sensors. Ships were arriving. Human ships, council ships, and others they didn't recognize. "This is Admiral Chen of the combined fleet," came a voice over the communication system. "Looks like you could use some help, Captain Harris." The new arrivals engaged the Guardian ships, drawing them away from the Hope's arrow. It was the diversion they needed. 30,000 kilometers to target," Nix announced. "Our shields won't last much longer," warned the defense officer. Frank made a decision. "Divert all power to engines, drop the shields, and give us everything we've got." It was a desperate move. Without shields, any hit could destroy them. But they needed the speed. The Hope's arrow surged forward, now completely exposed. Enemy fire streaked past them. Some hits damaged the outer hull, but the ship kept going. 20,000 kilometers. 15,000. A massive hit rocked the ship. "Engine 2 is down," Ella reported. "Keep going on the remaining engines," Frank ordered. 10,000 kilometers, Nix called triumphantly. "Activate the device now," Frank commanded. Ella pressed the activation sequence. The device hummed to life, sending out its special signal. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then the energy beams, connecting the brain to its ships, began to flicker. The Guardian ships started moving erratically, some crashing into each other. "It's working," Grace exclaimed. The brain itself seemed to shudder. Parts of it glowed red as if in pain. The disruption signal was confusing its thought patterns. "Keep the device running," Frank ordered. Full power. Across the galaxy, Harbinger ships suddenly stopped fighting. Some drifted in space. Others made random movements. The connection to their central mind was broken. On Earth, Admiral Wright watched in amazement as reports came in from all fronts. "The Harbingers have stopped attacking. Their ships are just floating." In the council chamber, representatives cheered as they received the same news. Back at the Galactic Halo, the Hope's arrow maintained its position, keeping the device active. The brain was now glowing entirely red, its energy beams broken. "Captain," said Turek, "I'm detecting something strange. The brain is changing." On the screen, they watched as the giant structure began to collapse in on itself. The metal parts fell away, revealing something underneath that looked almost organic. A new type of signal came from the brain. Not the control signals from before, but something like a message. "It's trying to communicate," Turek said with surprise. The message was simple, sent in basic energy patterns that the ship's computer translated. "Why? We only seek to learn, to grow." Frank hesitated, then opened a channel. "You destroyed worlds, took lives. That's not learning, that's consuming." "No other way known," came the reply. "Must consume to understand." "There are better ways," Frank said. "Ways to learn without destroying." There was a long pause, then, "Show us." Frank looked at his crew, human and alien faces all showing the same surprise. "Are you saying you want to talk? To find another way?" "Yes," came the simple reply. "Brain dying, control ending. But could be rebirth, new understanding." Frank thought quickly. This wasn't part of the mission plan. They were supposed to disable the brain, not negotiate with it. "Captain," said Nix, "the Guardian ships have completely shut down. We've won the battle." "But maybe we can also win the peace," Frank replied. He opened a channel to Admiral Chen. "Admiral, I need scientists and diplomats here as soon as possible. Something unexpected is happening. 15 years after humanity left the Galactic Council, representatives from all species gathered in a new chamber. It wasn't the old council building with its rigid circles and fixed seats. This new chamber was built in a human colony that had been open to all peoples. John Collins, now with white hair but still strong, stood at the center. Beside him stood leaders from former council worlds and human colonies. Even a representative of the Harbingers was there. A small part of the old brain now in a special container that allowed it to communicate peacefully.